Hey guys, it is Thursday here in West Virginia, Thanksgiving Day. And as I mentioned earlier in the week, I was going to try to get out a video for Black Friday, like black cars, and then one for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get the one out for tomorrow for Black Friday, but I will do one today for the things that I'm most thankful for in the collection this year, and that pretty much is something that took place over the past couple of months, and that is the diorama right here in front of us. It is a lowrider diorama. I was getting bored with what I was collecting. I still love my Mopar muscle cars from the 60s and 70s, but I was becoming bored with the Mopar Modern Muscle and the Mopar trucks, and also like some of the race car stuff I was collecting. It just was at that point where I wasn't really seeing anything else coming out that I wanted and stuff, and I was really had in the back of my mind I wanted to get back into lowriders again. So I ended up selling off, I would say, at least 40% of my collection, and then using the money to reinvest in some lowriders. And that's basically what you have in front of you here, because these things have gone up in price a lot since I was last into it. But also, I was buying them in the Philippines, but in the Philippines, these things are pretty hot too. So they are pretty pricey there too. Not as pricey as here, but I would say they cost, I don't know, maybe 20% less than they do here. That's about the only difference. So if they went up here, they went up there too. But anyways, here there's more of a variety. There's more available than what there are there. You can't even find anybody wanting to sell them there. So here it's a little bit nicer because you do find people wanting to sell them, and you even find some of the ones that people refer to as the Grell pieces, which pretty much is any S10 and a couple of the Impalas and pretty much any of the Regals and Cadillacs. So anyways, this is what I've excuse me, come up with over the past, say, month and a half. I still have some work to do on the diorama, and yes, I still have my Dodge diorama, the dealership. I just put it over here on a shelf somewhere. That way I can make room for this, because there's no way I could fit all of this with the dealership, because this takes up the whole table that the dealership used to sit on. So I took the garage from Greenlight and converted it to like a lowrider garage. I wanted to take out the magazine thing, but I'm just gonna leave it that way for now. And I put Ron's little office building or whatever, little house, as the office for the establishment. And I've seen this done before at some of the ISCA shows back in the 90s and early 2000s. My dad and I used to show our cars at this like kind of checkered floor that you could put down temporarily in that's usually indoors on a concrete floor, but I guess you could do it outdoors. So that's what I did here. And use that for the main focal point of like all the more important cars, the Grell pieces that you want to call, if you want to call them that, and then some of the other cooler pieces, although all of them I really love. And then not to mention like the pieces that I bought, but one of my friends, Gilbert Martinez, he built me the 63 Impala that we took a look at a couple weeks ago. Very cool piece, and I'm very happy to have that in the lowrider collection. And these are a lot more meaningful than ones you can just buy. And then he sent me a Monte Carlo last week, and yeah, I'm very grateful for that. So that's one thing I'm giving thanks for, is having a good friend like him that's builds these for me and sends them to me. The only thing, I think I messed up the Monte Carlo a little bit because I wanted to push the rear end forward a little more, and I did that, but when I did so, it ended up putting the ball pivot in a loose position because I had to hit it with a drill and drill it out just a little bit more so I could shove the rear end forward because it was setting back a little bit. And now I can't get it to set in 3-wheel motion without some kind of help. I use these little pieces of styrofoam from these like Halloween models that my son and I got last year, and these little pieces cut off. I try to find the black ones because they wedge in. As you can see, I wedged one here, and it will keep rear ends in position because I have had a lot of problem. Not a lot, but I would say like 1 out of 10, so 10% of the Revell cars, they have a tendency to wear out very quickly or just overall just break. So I've had those little tabs, the positioning tab where you hear the click, click, click. Those go out on me where now it just sits on the ground, or you can put a piece of foam in there and make it set up a little. And then also there's the issue where those arms break off. I call it like a U-shaped thing, and that's bad. It's happened twice, so I can't complain too much because these cars are very, I don't know, they've lasted a long time, and all the ones I've bought, pretty much all of them were in the package, so nobody had been playing with them except for me. I got some loose ones, but not many. And then the Hot Wheels design, it's a little bit better than Revell's because it's more durable, but the Revell one looks better because it's not so gaudy, it's not so big and ugly. The way that Gilbert does his is actually, I think, the prettiest because you have the rear end on a pivot ball. There goes my styrofoam, and you go up and down, and it can go side to side and such. And then you have your front end independent. Each one is independent, and it gives you that what is it called, camber, and where it goes inward, I think it's your positive camber, and or where the bottom goes inward and then the top goes outward. I think it's positive camber because when the guys tip their tires in on the JDM stuff, I think it's negative camber. But anyways, so this is the most realistic, and he found a guy on eBay that has some chassis built that are very specific for certain Hot Wheels, and they actually have an A-arm where it pivots up and down, and it looks really cool. It looks realistic and such, whereas these are just like little bars on a pivot ball, but they still look good. They're much prettier to look at than the Hot Wheels ones, especially the Hot Wheels ones, and even the Revell ones, because that looks more realistic when you look at those two, my Monty and the 63 that he put together for me. So hopefully, I can find somebody that makes custom chassis too that are a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more universal, where they fit more cars. And then instead of having one specifically made, because I was looking on eBay, looking at them, and a lot of them are just like the Hot Wheels stuff, like this, where they're on a pivot ball, which is still cool. But they're also either very, very basic, where they're not going to be very strong, where it's just like a block plate here, and it has the pivot, and a block plate there that has a pivot, and you kind of just adjust it to wherever you want it on your car and build kind of your own chassis around them. So there's still a lot of like do-it-yourself. It's not like a direct bolt-in. And then there's guys that make direct bolt-in ones, but they're made specifically for like a Hot Wheels 59 Chevy or Hot Wheels 57 Chevy, something like that. I've even seen them for Hot Wheels Honda Civics. So that's cool and all, but it limits you to what you can do with them unless you want to get one and cut it apart, which probably would be okay. The only thing that you have to worry about is your track, how wide it is. The length you can fool around with, but the track may be a little bit difficult for the rear end. Now, the front end, it may not be because you're working with those A-arms, but yeah, I have a lot of things coming up. What's cool with the lowrider collecting is that there's a lot of hands-on stuff. You get to do it yourself. And also you get to meet a lot of great people in the hobby that you didn't meet before by only collecting certain things. So that's what's cool about mixing up and going to other like diecast communities. You get to meet new people, learn new things, see new things. It's pretty cool. So yeah, this is kind of neat. I'm glad to have the lowriders back because this is a thing that was huge when I was growing up as a teenager in the 90s. I remember my dad and I used to show muscle cars and like Pro Street hot rods and stuff like that. But I was always fascinated by the lowriders because that's when they started really going mainstream in America because of all the hip hop songs that were showing them. So everybody wanted lowriders and stuff. They have been around for several decades before that, but in the 90s is when they went mainstream in most major cities around America. So anyways, we're going to be doing a lot with lowriders over the coming weeks, months, and we're also going to keep going with Mopar Muscle, as you see there, and still like our movie cars and stuff, and more Mopar Muscle up there. So I'm not getting rid of the Mopar Muscle cars, just I get rid of some of the modern stuff, actually all the modern stuff, and then half of my trucks. Besides that, just the Mopar trucks. I kept all my square bodies because I still am really big into those too, those dualies I've been collecting. And also I've been straying off and buying a 1500 every now and then. So anyways, they just give you a close-up look at some of this stuff. So back here in the corner, the silver and red one, that is supposedly like the #1 64 Impala to get from Revell. Then the convertible one in the middle in front of it is actually from Fineworks, and they did a gorgeous job on this vehicle. If you did not see my video on it, make sure you go look in the archives and find it. It's only was from a couple of weeks ago. This car is gorgeous. The craftsmanship is amazing on it. It does have an opening hood, opening trunk with detailed stereo system in the trunk, detailed engine under the hood, and it also comes with a lift-off hardtop. You can make it a hardtop and also a convertible, which is really cool. And then in the background, you have a new release of the S10, which is really cool. That's actually what got me started again on the lowriders because of that S10. I never thought I would own one because they're so expensive, but they released a model kit and they're calling it big and small, just like the Amigo kits they used to have in the early 2000s. So you could still get that blue S10 and a model kit in 1/24th of an S10 for only like $50. So it's a pretty good deal. And then I ended up getting the red S10. I paid a lot more than $50 for it, but I was glad to add another truck to it, to the collection. And then I got the Regals. I got them for a reasonable price, the red one and the green one. I had the pink one right here, and I'm just now looking for the black one. And this guy here is a pretty hard to find 63. That's the one from the original lowrider model kit with the big and small, but back then it was called the Amigo kit. So the Amigo was the Diecast, a friend of the 1/24th model kit. So I finally found a kit that still had the Diecast, which is ultra rare nowadays. Then finding one in the single pack for 63. This is the Grell for 63s, the blue one. And then the caddies. I really don't know which caddy is the Grell piece, but I really like the black one. I got it. And then the white one, that was the first one I came across, and that one was pretty reasonable. I think I got it for like $40. Then there's some green ones. There's a couple different green ones out there. And besides that, I don't know what else is out there for the caddies, but the green ones are a little bit pricey too, same as the black one. So yeah, if you're going to get into it, don't look to get into the lowrider diecast hobby on a budget. Like if you're going to just collect like one here and there, or buy like the RLC ones from Hot Wheels coming out, or ones that have recently come out. The newer Monty and Impala, and even the first release of the 75 Monty from Hot Wheels RLC, you could still get them for around $50 a piece. But the pink rose one and the Christmas one, they're a little bit more pricey. And then you can find also the older Hot Wheels releases of a 70 Monty, the 69 Riv, the Lowrider. There's a Lowrider box set that had this 69 Riv, but I've done a wheel swap on this to make it look a little better because it had some gold tri-blade wheels on it that didn't look so great. Then it had the Monty. The only thing I don't like about Hot Wheels, some people like it, I don't. It has the fender skirts on it. I'm not really into like Monte Carlos of fender skirts, but they did make them for the first generation Monty, so some people like them. And then they had the 53 Chevy. This one is from the 3-piece set I just showed you the other two cars from. And then they also have another Lowrider magazine edition, which is this guy here. And then they have a blue one, which I have, but just not here on the table. Now, another thing about the Revell Lowriders, if you're getting into it, don't be fooled by the bombs and the newer, like 90s style Caprice Impala, because they do not have adjustable suspension. So if you're going to buy like a newer Impala, which I did, and I knew it didn't have the adjustable suspension, I just like the way they look. This one and then the black one that looks like a stock SS with gold Daytons on it is beautiful. So I'm hoping to find that one too for a reasonable price. And then the bombs, they're also pretty cool. That's the Lowrider culture, is what they call the 30s and 40s fat fender cars. They call them the bombs. And this one is pretty cool in like a candy magenta color. And you can get these sometimes for like $15, $20 a piece, but they do not have adjustable suspension. Just regular standard drop suspension, which they still look good. They look really nice in a diorama and so forth. And then you can find like the cheaper Maisto ones that have adjustable suspension. They're kind of like the old Muscle Machines, Jesse James stuff. They had the adjustable suspension. Like that guy there where you just push down and then it springs up to regular ride position and then it's dropped. So that's kind of cool. You can still adjust the ride height, but you can't do no 3-wheel or side to side or anything like that. But you could still do like a hopping look like I do with those guys there and the guys back there and such. So it is cool. And a lot of fun. So I'm not sure how long I'll be into this. I hope I stay in the lowriders until I quit the hobby for good, which I hope is until the day I die. I hope to be in this hobby for a very long time because I really enjoy it. Just sometimes I get bored and want to do something new. Or go back to something old like the lowriders. So guys, I hope everyone has a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and maybe we'll be back tomorrow with a Black Friday special to take a look at a bunch of black cars. We'll just see what happens because we got to go a couple places tomorrow. So we'll see what happens, and then turn on your notification bell so you know if I do drop a spontaneous video, and also make sure you subscribe if you have not done so, and leave us a like because it really does help us move up in the algorithm, and it will help more people find us and help our channel grow. Thank you very much, guys.